And I think we are live.
Amazing.
Hey Maha,
Hi, Hiba.
let us just cross check if everything is going as per. Let's see. Let's just give it a minute or two.
Yes. Amazing. I think we're live. We got
Yes,
super excited for this.
wonderful.
Amazing.
All right, let's get started. Hi Maha.
Hi, Hiba. How are you?
Good, alhamdulillah. How are you?
Alhamdulillah. All good.
Happy Thursday. Thank you for accepting the invite.
Super excited to be here.
Same here. So excited and happy to have you. Thank you, everyone who's joined us. This is going to be a light, casual chat between myself and Maha. For those who joined us for the first time, the Unfiltered series is a chill hangout where we talk about real business. No fluff, no formality, genuine conversation, tips and tricks, and actual things that you can actually use. Relaxed vibes, everybody is welcome. Ask questions. This is a judge free zone. So,
We
the
listen, we
topic
don't judge.
exactly, we listen and we don't judge. There you go. Wonderful. So, today's event is something that myself and Maha are really passionate about. It's about e commerce. Um, with a flavor, with tips and tricks, pain and gain, but specifically for small, medium businesses. We hear you, we get you, and we're here to talk about that. So, just before we start, a little bit about Maha. So, myself and Maha, we go way back. I had the pleasure to work with her, travel with her, get to know her on multiple level, and see her also grow into the professional that she is today. So, it is truly a privilege to have her here. So, to get started and get everybody familiar, Maha, tell us a little bit about your journey. How did you become an e-commerce pro?
Um, I think it all started really, really early on. In 2009, I went to my parents and I said, "Hey guys, I think people are going to start buying things online. I want to build a store." And back in the day, there was a Wix was like coming up where you can build your own um, website from scratch. And I was like, I
Mhm.
want to know how that works. I think I was like 14 or 13. So it started really early on, and everyone was like, who's going to buy anything online? My parents were like, that's crazy. You should not do that. It's just, who would pay you for something they didn't actually see? Back then, I think I actually did it, right? So I built my own website and people actually bought things. I was super excited about it, and I combined two things that I am so passionate about, which is fashion and e-commerce and technology in general, which is something that I realized later on that I'm passionate about. With time, I changed a lot of careers, but I was always driven back to technology and tech in general. And it all revolves around e-commerce because this is where the world is going, especially after COVID, right? Everyone became more virtual. I mean, both of us are on an online webinar with a lot of people watching us and will watch us later on. So everything is moving online, and so is the shopping experience and the commerce experience as well.
Yeah, totally agree. And I think um, a lot of journey starts with curiosity. and then turn into something absolutely magnificent. So I actually admire the fact that we, like you tapped into a curiosity, something that you were excited about, an idea that was unconventional, and then you jumped on it and see where it goes. Now, fast forward, a lot has evolved around e-commerce. A lot of changes happened. What excites you the most about where e-commerce is today? And what is the coolest thing that's happening? Something that years back you wouldn't think that it would happen, and it's happening now, and it's actually really cool.
I think simplifying the user and focusing on the user experience became a very important part of e-commerce, and I love how now the customer is the center of the conversation. They are making the decisions on what it is that they want, and they are creating needs, and I love that the brands are now listening. I love also how there's so much space for SMBs to compete. Like there
Yeah,
is that space and room, and it's accessible, and it's not as difficult as it used to be before. I mean, you see a lot of like small local brands competing with like massive brands, and
yeah,
it's someone who's literally one person, one man show, or three people starting a very small business that then booms because they followed the right guidelines and they followed the right steps. It just requires that knowledge and requires that a little bit of hand holding sometimes if you have no experience. But if you have what it takes and you put your mind to it, you'll always achieve so much greatness in this world.
yeah, absolutely agree. And I also think that e-commerce give a chance to, shake down monopolies that have been there for a very long time.
Yes.
It also gave power back to the consumer, power back to the people who are buying. People became more conscious. We do research. Obviously, we're also heavily influenced, and like you can grab our attention with different things, and there's trends, and there's that. Um, but let's talk about the foundation. So let's say I'm a business and I want to start my online business. I want to kickstart in e-commerce. Um, what is the absolute first thing that I need to do?
Um, I'm going to start from the baseline of the baseline. You need to know what you're going to sell and know it very well, right? So find the gap. If you're filling a gap, you'll succeed, whatever it is that you're selling. If a customer wants it or needs it, it's always better that they need it. If they need it, they're going to actually buy it without you creating the feel of want, right? So if you create that, that does not eliminate the fact that you can always go back and also push a product that is just a want. It's just you need to identify which direction you're going in and understand your market very well, understand your consumer behavior very well, build a very strong process. And the stronger your process is, the less gaps are, the better the user experience is, the better your customer feedback is. Overall, once you have a process from the beginning and you actually sit down, build a workflow, write a process, build it on that product that you're selling or service that you're selling. Once you do that, it will flow seamlessly. Everything else is just a plug and play, especially now that everything is omni-channel, right? And
Yeah,
everything is super unified. If you build the process correctly, then you can go and implement everything to make sure it's streamlined and very, very simplified for both back end and front end. When I say front end, I mean the customers, obviously. And when I say back end, I mean everyone who's working on that project, whether building a website, building a brand, even when you're building a brand, right? So when we get someone who wants to start a brand, the first thing you do is like, okay, what's your brand about? You need to
yeah,
understand their strategy, right? And then you create the logos, the assets, the colors, the typography. All of these are accessories to the vision that you have to have placed for yourself. And always give yourself room to diversify. So, for example, when you want to build something, don't think that you're always building one product. You
yeah.
will reach a point of saturation where you need to give yourself the room to expand and add more streamlines to that. I think that's
Nice.
the first There are a lot of
Yeah.
first steps, but it's important.
Obviously, like, it all goes down to basics. Absolutely. I would also add to that that a lot of people right now who wants to go into the e-commerce space, or they're just starting, they you have to think about a selling a solution rather than a product. And we always see it, for example, on Shark Tank, like all those entrepreneurs that come, they say that, oh, I had this problem and I wanted to fix it. And this is why I built this product. This is why I have a patent about this product. This is why I invented this product, and it sells and it works because more often than most times is that the problem that you're facing or the challenge that you're facing, other people are facing too. So spot on, actually, Maha. Yes, that tied to a process, tied to a structure, having a long-term vision that you will scale at some point. And a lot of the time, people don't plan for the best case scenario. Like, what if
100%.
we actually go viral and we have 100,000 visitors at the same time on our website? So people always try to not plan for that. So spot on, absolutely. Now, obviously, technology plays a big role in e-commerce and in the world today in general. Like, businesses cannot function without technology. We cannot function without technology.
True.
Um, a lot of options are out there, a lot of technologies, a lot of tools, so many things. It gets overwhelming. All right. So if
Absolutely.
when
Absolutely.
SMBs, yeah, when SMBs are trying to pick the right e-commerce platform, I feel like they get, obviously, a lot of people try to approach them. They get overwhelmed. They don't know what's the right thing to do. Okay, do I need to focus on tools that will help me with also marketing, or tools that will only help me build a store and sell it? And there's so many players in the market. So if there's one thing, or the most important thing for them to focus on when they are picking the right solution without getting overwhelmed, what are the ABCs of the platform or the technology that needs to back you up when it comes to e-commerce?
It's a great question because, see, sometimes people rush because they have this great idea and they're like, and we meet a lot of clients who are still at that very, very early stage, right? So they're like, I have a great idea, I want to build this and I want this tomorrow, right? But building a process helps you understand that. Once you have the process, you understand, and you have the vision, you understand what is the most suitable platform for you. It might be Shopify, but again, you also need to understand your market. Once you have your strategy, once you have your vision, you'll be able to say, okay, I am selling in Saudi Arabia, correct? Sella might be more suitable for you because their payment gateway integrations are more functional. It supports your language in an easier manner. It supports it's integrated with local partners. If you are an F&B, you might not even need the full process, right? You might go to partners such as chat food or audible, where they are specialized in F&B because the process is quite different. You've got inventory in the back end, you've got um, uh, POS systems that you want to link to your online store, so everything is landing in the same place so you don't get overwhelmed. Again, it all goes back to the process. What are you targeting, where you are? And then there are so many players, but once you have the vision of what do I need and what functions do I need it to cover, then your choice becomes a lot easier. And then if you don't have that level of knowledge, this is where you go to partners who are your consultants, your website development team, your marketing agency, your whoever is your consultant on this project who specialized and knows better. They will have a full picture. They will understand who in the market is playing what role and who is actually great, whether from functionality, price, user friendliness. It's also a very important layer is um, who's going to use it and what's their level of comfortness with the tools, correct?
Yeah.
So if you're talking about like WooCommerce or Shopify, I'm going to talk about the major players, but there are so many out there, right? When you're picking an option between both, if your team is not sophisticated when it comes to the tech and the development stack, then e-commerce might be a bit challenging. But
Mhm.
if you're like a one-man show, then Shopify is brilliant for you because it's super simplified. It's the difference between Android and iOS. I always tell my customers, right? There's one that is very basic, straightforward, but if you're a little bit more advanced technologically, then maybe WooCommerce, but also do you need that functionality, right?
Yeah,
It goes back to the process. So
yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I think, yeah, to add to that generally is that the process gets overwhelmed because of how much information or how much options are out there in the market. But the moment you realize what you want, you have a checklist of what is a must have, like in terms of experiences. Okay, I want my client to be able to have suggested products, or combine multiple products, or create bundles at checkout. Once you have list of features, it's very easy to like shortlist and narrow down. And obviously budget also comes into play. There's multiple factors, but spot on in terms of your team. You need to know your team, and you need to level it up. Make sure that whether you get a solution that they would all agree on, or provide adequate training for them to join you, to be with you on this journey.
absolutely. And I always highlight the importance of an annual maintenance contract, right? An AMC. An AMC is extremely important in this cases. If you are a one-man show, you need to offload a lot of the work. Sometimes with SMBs, when you're starting up, no matter how big your team is, I personally face this challenge, right? I want to
Yeah,
make sure I'm doing everything at a perfect speed, and I want to make sure that I'm doing the best of the best. But sometimes you actually have to offload it to someone who's a master in that area.
yeah.
So
And I think this is also another misperception that SMBs say, oh no, it's going to be expensive if I go and ask for help. uh, but sometimes you do. Even if you're an SMB, you need to budget for that. You need to take that into consideration to make sure that whenever you need help, you go and ask for it. Now, what are some of the rookie mistakes that happen in the early stages, and then you want to hold a big warning sign for businesses that are tuning in, to avoid and stay away from?
I love that question actually. And it's very interesting how you see so many of them that you can't pinpoint like just one. But I think the most common one of all is people sometimes want to cut back on cost, and they don't realize that fixing the problem is going to cost them double or even triple.
Yeah,
It's better to go with like a proper payment plan and invest it correctly from the beginning, especially that it affects you as well in revenue perspective. Like for example, you really can't go cheap with an accounting system. You can't. It really, especially for example, if you're in a service provider, if you're in a SaaS module, if you're in a SaaS module, your main revenue is to make sure that you are always streamlined, right?
yeah,
And sometimes also too many is unnecessary.
yeah.
Sometimes you get really overwhelmed. There are so, and I think someone just asked a question that is important, that we'll cover after this point. um, Sometimes it's very 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 hard to refuse the temptation of having everything. I want a website and the plugins and the WhatsApp chatbot, and I want to activate, live stream chat, and I want to make sure I have a call center hotline, and I want to make sure I have. Sometimes you really need to phase things out. You can't start everything at the same time. So you really need to plan your business based on your strategy on phases. Not everything happens today. And you cannot expand your geographic location if your logistics internally in one location is already not mastered. You need to make sure that you perfect where you are and then grow. You don't grow and then fix. A lot of people will recommend, you see a lot of these influencers or people or speakers, public speakers, that actually go like, hey, you know what, do it all and then fix it later. later, but that affects your customer experience, and that is not salvageable.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Um, and here's the thing, like I feel entrepreneurs in general or small medium businesses in general, when they're starting, there's a lot of drive and yeah, I want to do it all. I want to do it all. But yeah, definitely hold your horses, have a plan in place, phase it out. That's the safest way, or delegate. There's a lot of fractional companies that offers fractional support, fractional accountant, fractional CFO, fractional inventory. There's like fulfillment center. So there is multiple ways for you as an e-commerce business to be able to scale and grow and do it all, but at a very smart way, without burning yourself and burning your cash and, like you said, jeopardizing your customer experience, because that's absolutely non-salvageable. Or maybe it is, but it's going to be hard a little bit. Yeah.
It's harder
There's
than
nothing
actually
impossible.
ruining
Yeah.
it, right? I agree
Yeah.
100%. It's just a lot of effort to go back, and like
Absolutely.
retention is usually harder, as hard as sales. I mean, you're on the retention side, I'm on the sales side, right? So we're
Yeah.
they're both very important to complete, and it's important for me to sell something for you to be able to return,
Absolutely.
to
Absolutely.
yeah, to retain.
Yeah. Now, since we were talking about tools and automation, where we tapped into the technology aspect, now we hear it a lot: automation, efficiency, bottom line, top line, all these very fancy, flashy keywords. Now, but practically, how can SMBs, small, medium businesses, start using automation and, make the most out of it effectively?
How can we Okay, so I think from my point of view, it goes back to the ROI on time spent, right? That is why you use an automation. So the purpose of an
Yeah.
automation is to reduce cost and simplify and reduce mistakes and errors as well, right? So when you are thinking of an automation, you usually go back and say, okay, I spend 5 hours every month billing my customers. Why don't I go look into a way to automate that process? That customer will receive their invoice every month. If it's paid, if it's paid, if it's not, it's terminating. I get flagged, done, right?
Mm-hmm.
That is a way, this is a need that you have, even if you're doing it, but you can do it better, right? This is where you go like, okay, I need an automation. Your customer onboarding is a great point of where you actually have to set up automations. So the full on experience enhances as well. And even cultivating the information of how are we doing? I want to hear back from the customers. Did you enjoy this experience? If you
Yeah.
enjoyed this experience, this is another important layer to automate. As much as you can, I love automations. This is like my bread and butter,
Yeah, I
everything.
can
I love
see
AI,
hearts popping out of your eyes.
literally.
Yes.
If I can automate my entire process from A to Z, I will definitely do that.
Mahabot.
um literally, if I can create a bot from myself that answers people questions, I will be the first person to do that, because I've honestly seen the difference firsthand. Like, I know
Yeah.
how much it makes a difference. That, you know what, I receive a task, I start my day, I know what I'm getting, I am not spending a lot of time doing admin work, I'm using my brain space in the correct setting.
Yeah.
And that cascades as well on your entire team as any business, right? So
Of
if
course.
my team spends less time doing a task, that is an ROI for me as a business. And it also enhances your employee experience, which automatically uplifts your business.
Yeah.
In
Absolutely, leading by example. We definitely want to be the leaders that we are building for the future. So the people that you're working with are the leaders of the future. So hands on for that. I think just to touch upon the automation aspect, I think it's very important for businesses just to be conscious. So look at your process, see what is costing you a lot of time, draining your hours, creating unsatisfaction from your customers. So I'll just give an example um, that I think that most of the e-commerce businesses right now have this issue is updates about where my package is. Like,
Absolutely.
okay, I paid, you sent me a confirmation. Where is it right now? What's happening? And I think
Yeah.
that's the part that you can automate that will actually contribute a lot to my experience as a customer. So if you actually email me every time my package moves around in your facility, get put in a box, from the box it's somewhere, it's even moved from one location to another, it's actually in the driver, in the delivery driver car, and it's actually coming to me, it's gonna. And I think this is something that Amazon does that gives me a lot of comfort, because like
Yep.
they keep telling you, they're like, okay, it's shipped, okay, it's out for delivery, okay, it might come, it will be coming on this day, are you ready, it's coming today. And it gets you excited, but it also what keeps me coming back to Amazon, and what build that
Yeah.
trust and that level of assurance. So think of automation as a way for you to win, both in terms of, saving time and, like Maha said, gaining ROI, but also leaving an impact where people would think that you're actually getting out of your way, or it feels like you are getting out of your way to keep them updated, while you've actually automated that process, and it might not take much time from your side. So, yeah. So,
Yeah.
generally speaking, I'm also a fan of automation. I love it.
Yeah.
I joined the Maha clique in terms of my unwavering love for technology that brought us automation. Now, are there any hidden gems, tools or features that SMB overlook or don't pay attention to, and miss on in terms of tapping into it from an e-commerce perspective?
Um, I think a lot of them miss the integration between their logistics and their shipping, like you said. So I would say we just helped a customer who launched without it, and it's also because you don't plan ahead, right? So you get super overwhelmed with like orders at a certain point, and you're like, okay, I'm getting like 50 orders, which is causing a delay in delivering that order. And then if you think about the process all in all, you need to make sure you are ready to scale, right? So especially if you're going in and investing in marketing, you would be surprised. You do not know. Any marketing agency will come and tell you, okay, you know what? Here's the expectation, here's the ROI, but sometimes it exceeds, and a lot of time it exceeds. And when it exceeds, you will be able to somehow handle it and not fail, because that failure in the middle is not only an emotional distress that is unnecessary, it's also when you prepare for greatness, you achieve greatness. So prepare to grow, you will scale.
Yeah,
I think that's the most important. There's so many tools, by the way, so many.
yeah,
I mean, I just got if you are in the middle of meetings, or if you're in the middle transcribing these meetings, is a very nice tool that is important from a sales cycle. I think follow-ups is also like automating your emails, and follow-ups are very important, but I don't think there's like one specific tool that I would say is a hidden gem. I think the
yeah,
process in total
yeah,
is.
absolutely. And I think, generally speaking, technology is evolving very fast. Like, there is a new tool every day. What There could be one tool that gets you to a tipping point in terms of productivity, in terms of profitability, in terms of making your whole process work. So yeah, my advice for SMBs in general is to stay open to exploring. uh, if you think you have a solid workflow, everything is running smoothly, there's always room for improvement, and stay open to explore opportunity, tools and features and automation, because innovation is going like this. It's very fast. So that would be my piece of advice. Now, um, let's move a little bit away from, or maybe stay on the topic also, because obviously technology will still walk with us. But if we focus a little bit on traffic and sales, now obviously e-commerce are virtual, they're all based online. uh, the bread and butter of it is for people to land on your website or be on your TikTok shop, or find the way on your WhatsApp catalog, or just be there where in your platform specifically. Now, what is the best ways for SMB to attract more and more visitors to their online stores?
Uh, Obviously paid media, right? Obviously advertisements. And I think that is one of the best ways. Also, UGC content, man. You user generated content today, and for people who are not familiar with UGC content, it's basically when you've got a lot of people reviewing a certain product or using it in their daily life and showcasing that. um, that is a killer because people like people. We are naturally social human beings. We enjoy hearing it from people that we can associate and relate to, even
Yeah,
if briefly, right? So if I see a woman hustling with, like, her laptop, and her bag is super heavy, and she's carrying so many things and going to work and looks a little bit more business oriented, I will automatically associate with her without even knowing who's that person. And when I see her saying, you know what, I bought this bag, and this bag is amazing because, first of all, the strap is not cutting through my arm. I can remove the laptop if there's so many heavy things. There's a place for my water bottle. She understands, my needs as a business woman in the field, going having to go through this. I'll automatically buy that item, automatically
yeah,
add it to cart. It's not fixing a problem. If it might be fixing a problem, but I might already have a bag that does that, but I want one more, right? And it taps into that emotion that I have. When you tap into people's emotions, you are killing it. So
yeah,
that's a great way. And obviously the paid media, having the access to do that. Back in the day, it was just a billboard, right? It was
yeah,
only your newspaper. Today, you know how many people saw your ad, you know how they reacted to it. You can post your ad and compete right next to Dior, right? So you would be the next following ad right after Dior, or
yeah,
Disneyland, or whoever. So
yeah. No, I totally agree. I think a lot of the common denominator across all successful e-commerce businesses, and people that actually skyrocketed in e-commerce, is the fact that they had a paid media budget that they've spent. So it could be thousands of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars, but they obviously recouped that money and gone viral, basically entered every home in UAE. um, yeah, but yeah, definitely, like paid media, it's something that businesses and e-commerce businesses need to invest in and need to be very aware of, that um, it needs to be there. Now, obviously, if ads and paid media are important, where does organic content play? Like you mentioned now, because UGC is also part of, like, it could be part of your digital marketing paid media
absolutely.
strategy. But where does the organic content fits within the story and the narrative that we're just now talking about?
I love that question. This is one of the most asked questions, where I get a lot of customers and clients, who are like, why do we need to have, our organic content? I mean, I want to put all
Why do
my
I need a
budget
social
into media.
calendar? Why
Literally,
do I
why?
need a social media calendar? Yeah,
And not all content is made for you to go viral, by the way. Especially when you are in e-commerce, right? When you are selling something, when you're selling any product, right, or service, what happens is you are trying to build the trust and association, that emotional feeling. When someone lands on your ad, 70% chances is that they're going to check out your profile. And when they go back to your profile, you need to give them, to assure them that, you know what, yes, you made the right decision. You clicked on this ad, you went to my profile. I need to continue the journey of closing, which means I'm funneling, right? So it's a sales funnel. That
Yeah.
customer comes in, okay, he's got that visibility. And then after he's got that visibility, he I raised some curiosity. So he clicked, he checked my profile, he checked the ad. Okay, let me check it's exactly why you need a website, right? You could just do it from your Instagram or TikTok shop or Shopify or your WhatsApp. But having a website gives that customer the feeling of, trust,
Yeah.
emotion. You are actually real. You are a strong brand that is invested and invests in their product, and you're here for the long run. If I need you for a warranty, if I need you for a claim or whatever, you are going to be there. You're not just doing one campaign and you're out. I don't know who you are.
Yeah, I think definitely social proof is something that is definitely required. You need to build a storyline. I would say that, just to add to what you just said now, organic content is the base of everything. Being consistent in terms of how you post, the story you are telling, like
Your tone and your
exactly,
voice. Yeah.
in the behind the scenes of making this product and delivering this product. Like, I don't know, but I'm obsessed about pack my order videos. Like, I go on TikTok, I would spend hours just looking at orders being packed that I don't know anything about, but it's just so satisfying because it makes you feel like, this is the thing, like, people no longer want to buy just the brand, they want to buy the story. So
100%.
that's what the organic content does. It gives that story. And then the ad is a way for you to, it's basically performance driven. It's in order for you to, go through that tipping point, push them to the extra nudge, and so forth. But like you said, people would go back to check for credibility, check for the story. Do you resonate with me as a brand? Do you actually share the same values as me, and so forth?
100%. And just to add on top of that, you see a lot of very successful examples when it comes to that part, you see, other than the UGC content and all of that, if you go into the brand, I'll give you a very simple example. That cleaning cars, the videos of people cleaning cars, or they're cleaning a carpet or doing all of that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Yeah.
more keen to order that because it gave me the feeling of satisfaction. Although I still want to clean my car, right? But you didn't create that feeling of like, oh my God, is my mattress clean or is there something in it? I can't see it, but I want to make sure. So I'm gonna
Yeah.
go and order that cleaning service that cleans my carpet, my whatever it is. It's the same, whether it's a product or service. It's that association. It's super important.
Absolutely.
Super important.
Absolutely. And now, obviously, the organic content lets you know what ad works and resonate with your audience. So it is, like I said again, it is the base, it's the starting point, the square zero. You need that. Uh,
100%.
but in order for you to complete the success cycle, you need to also invest in paid media and make sure that you are present in the advertisement space.
And your first layer of paid media in the first place, like for anyone who's running a campaign, you know that your first layer is an engagement campaign, right? It's because you
Yeah.
want to create that, you want to reduce the cost, you want to increase the trust and awareness. And the reason why it's engagement and not lead generation is because it has to come from the source of your profile. Even
Yeah.
the algorithm is supporting that mentality. So if the platform itself and the algorithm itself is supporting that ideology, you should be implementing it to achieve the best results.
Yeah. Hear us out, SMBs. I hope you're
Yes.
taking notes. Wonderful. So obviously things are moving fast. We're almost at the end of 2024. If we look at 2025 and beyond, what do you think is the future of content for e-commerce? To, content that Obviously, has two main goals. You know, get people closer to your brand, build loyalty, and create conversions. People to land on your website and check out. What do you think it would look like for 2025 and beyond?
Um, that's a great question. See, it's the market is so fast. The reason why I love technology and marketing is because they're two of the fastest changing platforms or industries in the world, right? So being in those industries is very challenging. You can never predict the future. But I think something that was popular in 2024, but I think will start dying out a little bit, is influencer activations. Have you seen these? You know, like they're super big. They go and invite 3,000 influencers to the same event who are covering it on the same day, who are creating a 1 or 2 day buzz that has zero consistency and loyalty, and does not create the right association feeling for the audience. I do not feel great about the influencer going to that event and getting a 4,000 dirham bag of freebies
Goodies.
that I review on the and goodies on the spot. I think it devalues the product, first of all. Second of all, I think it does not resonate or create that feeling that the influencers are supposed to create with the audience. And I don't think it creates the consistency. And therefore, I don't think this trend is going to. I think what we might see, I'm not sure, but more of fan base activations, you know, like, hey, our first 1,000 fans are top 1,000 contributors and followers on our page are invited to a special event, you know. I think and if we're not seeing a lot of that, I think we should start seeing a lot of that.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I think generally speaking, because even if you notice, like the trend is around micro influencers, UGC, people that cover lifestyle for different products. Like you would see different products for people to review in a different way. I think there is going to be a big shift in terms of content, um, primarily focused on the hook of the content. Because again, attention span has gone significantly lower and lower. There's a lot of content, like I consume a lot of content. There's so much, like people are scrolling as fast as possible. So I think the in 2025 and beyond, on top of obviously the trends and shift in mentality and in focus, people will also people brands in general are more aware of their consumers, and consumers are more aware of what the brands are trying to do. So, you know, it's like I caught you, you caught me, you know, it's like
Yeah, the
it's gonna
three
be, yeah,
Spider-Man, you know,
exactly,
the three
exactly.
Spider-Man meme.
So
Yeah.
what happens is we're gonna have super sophisticated content for super sophisticated consumers that are aware, that they do their research, they're, you know, thinking about, they research your company, they know like who is endorsing your company, who is endorsing your product, who tried your product. Like literally, I think more than 80% of my recent purchases are TikTok influenced, or, you know, like
Yeah.
they are
Yeah.
influenced by me seeing a review, or, you know, looking at someone looks just like me that used that product and had a result. So
Well,
so I think that trend will continue. So my advice to brands, generally in people that are just starting, make sure that you find your niche and you focus on it, and you build a connection, you build a community. You also build a safe space for people to also give feedback about your product. I think Huda Beauty has nailed that in terms of hearing feedback from people, addressing it, fixing it, and all of that. So that's also another trend that I think will continue. That
100%
human
element.
aspect, exactly.
Yeah.
That's staying. That is staying. Trust me, that is staying.
Feeling like you're not alone, you know, in such a busy digital world, you really want to feel like you're not alone. I want to
Yeah,
feel like I can link to
yeah,
someone. And also, So Hiba, I'm super curious. What were your last TikTok influenced, last TikTok influenced
خلي
purchase?
المستور مستور.
A
No
top.
need, no need. That's confidential information. My
I actually
my
buy a lot like that.
yeah, my buying impulses leave that confidential information, please.
You're the
But
perfect customer, so we need to study
yeah,
that offline.
yeah, offline, offline. But yeah, and honestly, like you have consumers that just went out of a trauma of being heavily like people looked at us as clicks, interactions, likes, like people, brands were treating us like commodity, like a way to jump up the ladder and so forth, to actually be in the center of the conversation, and we are enjoying it. We are loving that, and consumers
Yeah.
are here to stay.
Yeah.
So, generally speaking, for smaller businesses, especially the people that are coming in into big player space, it's so hard for them. They get intimidated. They're like, okay, there's a big player. And again, I'll reference Shark Tank because the first question that people say is the sharks would ask the entrepreneur is, okay, there's giants and they're gonna eat you alive. Like, what? How do you stand out? So the question is, how can smaller business stand out when it comes to driving sales and traffic and grabbing market share, grabbing attention and stuff like that?
I think the market, I think Shark Tanks are great business people who started really early on, right? So the trends are different, and a very simple example is they lose a lot of deals that actually end up going viral, right? So one of these examples is like the Ring, which is the most. Is it called the Ring? I think it's the Ring. It's the door bell with a camera, and
Yeah,
everyone was like, "Who's gonna do that?" Right? And I think it's also because they're a little bit on the old traditional side, but they're improving that, and you can tell that they're improving that. Um, but going back to the main point of how to compete with the giants, I think that's the beauty of being online e-commerce. You don't need to invest so much to be competing next to all these huge brands. On the contrary, you just need a strong strategy, a clear tone, and a strong marketing, whether partner or in-house, to power up that. Once you have all of that pinpointed, I promise you'll skyrocket. And I've seen it happen with so many. But you also need to make sure the process is clear.
yeah, yeah. I think authenticity and the ability to share that story is an advantage that small businesses have that big giants can't have, or don't have, or haven't played on for a very long time. Like, um I would say why I would buy something that is created by someone that I've seen. They're part of their videos. Like I see them in the lab, I see the product, how it was created, how this versus a big brand that has been there since before I was born. And like all I know is that they're luxury or, it costs more and yeah, it's flashy and all of that.
Yeah.
I think the one thing that smaller businesses do have on top of as an advantage when you look at big players is that thing related to being authentic.
Yeah.
Um, all
I
right,
think
I
you
feel like
can't travel. Yeah, like you, for example, you can't travel without wearing the giving movement, right? So, or that's a
yeah,
very important thing. That's the feeling and association. A very small player that actually ended up, people used to spend the same amount of money. So it's a buying power, right? And you're spending that money buying from a player like bigger names, Adidas, Nike, or whatever.
yes,
And then the giving movement coming in to eat up. And they were only an online platform, huh? So
yeah,
they started as an e-commerce platform that later on opened an actual store and physical
yes,
location. But their main bread and butter is their online store. So this is how you nail it. Also, um, fix, right? Fix chocolates. I just saw that Lindt is doing a collab or a recreation of Fix's chocolates, and like the big players are now competing with the small ones, right? They
yeah.
are following the
Trying to follow
trend and
trends.
trying
Yeah,
to, absolutely, absolutely.
yeah,
So we
yeah. I
have a
think
bigger chance.
absolutely. I think generally speaking, there's a huge disruption in the economy in terms of like how things like definitely things are reshaping, and it is a great time and great opportunity. Um, I love the examples that you just shared. I think right now, if I'm not in Dubai and I'm traveling back to Dubai, how I know the people that are going to be with me in the plane is that if they were in the given movement. So spot on. And it's just amazing how much they came in such a short time and they conquered. But I'll give you an insight. They've spent a lot on paid media,
Of course.
and they've spent a
You,
lot in content creation. And again, it ties back to everything that we just said, that you need to have a solid strategy for your digital presence, and it will pay back. Wonderful. I think we've talked a lot about traffic, content. Now we want to talk about part that is also very important because consumers and customers are very conscious about it, which is customer experience. So I bought, or I am on your website about to buy. What are your advice for online shopping businesses so that they can create a shopping experience that I would be like, Maha, oh my God, you have to go and check out this website and buy something from them.
um, so let's start with the baseline, right? And I love that question. The baseline is to having a seamless experience. So, for example, uh, it's a higher number of people using their mobile to purchase anything and to stream their social media. So you want to make sure that your mobile version on your e-commerce is even stronger than your desktop one. That is extremely important. Once you do that, you go back and say, okay, you know what? I need to make sure that they click the right buttons, they do not lag, your loading speed is perfected. And when I say
Mm,
perfected, I mean you do not lag, you cannot lag. So you should be running, running. And then even your checkout experience should be seamless. So I see a lot of platforms where I actually have to reach out for my credit card and enter the number. And that is like very horrible for the experience. You need to make sure that your payment integration makes that purchase push a button is actually just pushing a button. That's it. You don't do anything else.
yeah,
That is from the top, the core of the business, right? Now on the top layer of the business where you're talking about, have a clear sales funnel. If you have a Black Friday offer, it has to be a killer offer. You need to spend money for people to see that you have a killer offer. Once they land, you need to make sure you buy it now, not tomorrow, now. So for you to build that, you need to have the right marketing automations integrated. You have to make sure that the customer is retained as well. So you need to make sure that they receive the right email, their birthday, their celebrations. Oh my God, we sold this. You tagged us, we tag you. We feel like you are part of the community. I see a lot of people who are like tagging their these big companies, and the companies do not respond, do not reshare,
yeah,
while the brands that actually succeed involve their audience in their life because you're building a community, and these are
yeah.
part of your community.
Yeah, 100%. And just going back to the loading and speed and, push and pull and latency of your website and the readiness for it. I read the other day that 53% of mobile or basically website visitors would abandon your site if it doesn't load in 3 seconds.
True.
Imagine 3 seconds,
That's true.
one, two, three. If I'm not seeing what I clicked on, I'm
Yeah.
getting out of here. So spot on, definitely like creating also businesses that create, sorry, experiences that create that. Oh my God, I have to do it now, and keep me excited, keep me intrigued. So spot on. Um, um, it's very known that the region, generally speaking, is moving into a mobile first region. A lot of people are moving to mobile. So what is your piece of advice, or when it comes to making their site mobile friendly, making sure that they don't overlook that in the process of building a website, because we often do that on our laptop, but then majority of the people are actually going to be on their phone when they go on your website.
Um, we obviously covered the loading time, which was the starting point. Now, from a user experience, like we said, your checkout definitely has to be integrated with your wallet, whatever it is, whether it's an Apple wallet or a Google wallet or whatever wallet, so the customer does not have to go through that experience. Another thing is they should feel like they are in control. That's a very important point. You need to go back to the root and say, you know what, you can delete, you can remove, you should not hide things to make it tricky, right? And you should make sure that you reach the final destination with the least number of steps. So
Yeah.
you are one, two, three. Within the third one, I'm going to come in. For example, if you're doing a media buying ad for a specific product, I need to press on that product and land on that product page, not land on the website. I don't want to go in and start looking. Once I add that to the cart, I see that I get, for example, shipping for free on 250, and that was only 100. So I go back and cruise and add more to my cart to reach the 250. Once I send that, I paid, I clicked in the least number of steps. I come back to the website externally, and the website says, hey, here's your welcome gift. Thank you for ordering from us. Here is your welcome gift. It comes with my package or it comes with there. You can use your voucher for your next time. This is how you create and retain customers.
Yeah. With the intention of I'm making everything easy for you to my brand is accessible, my brand and all of that. And I think like I would invite people that are here with us to go and read. Like I wrote an article a while back about abandoned cart, and there's a lot of elements that you just mentioned now that are included in there, and they actually people sometimes they overlook, but it has a big impact on it. um I think my next question, we've kind of touched upon it. So, but again, we'll talk about it because of just how important it is. Um, the personal touch. Like, what can SMBs use in terms of personalization to keep the client coming back? Like, other than creating that offers, like things that you just mentioned now, is there anything that you would like to add that SMBs can capitalize on?
Based on our customers, I think customers like it when you talk to them in their first name. So they like to know that you actually, you know how successful birthday discounts are? It's because customers feel like, although you get 10 emails from 10 different companies, but you feel like these 10 companies actually appreciate me, right?
Yeah,
Subconsciously, by the way, you don't realize it. It's just the psychology,
yeah.
the human
Although it's
psychology, right?
automated.
It's automated, and you know it's
Yeah,
automated, and we both know it's automated. There is no guy sitting there writing, "Hey Maha, happy birthday! I love you so much. You're the best. Wishing you a beautiful day." But I love that, and I love brands that are actually like in the morning you go, and this is the right way to do it with push notifications on applications as well, right? So
yeah,
in the morning you're probably stuck in traffic. You can easily navigate who is stuck at a speed of zero and automate that and say, when someone is stuck in traffic, on my automation based on the Google Map information from
yeah,
their Gmail that is logged in, send them a, hey, order now and receive it when you reach your office, for example.
yeah,
So knowing how your customer thinks, feels, and putting yourself in their shoes
yeah,
yields in that result. And that only comes with that personal touch. I think even if it's not a direct, the direct it is, the better, obviously. But even if it's not direct, it just makes a lot of sense. We love
yeah.
it. I'll always love it.
I love it too. Yeah, you have two people here that loves personal touch. So absolutely, I agree with you. And obviously, be bold, think outside of the box. Um, like there is no there is no limit to the innovation in that space of personalization. Like just be bold. Um, Wonderful. I think we've covered the customer experience, which is obviously one of the main pillars. Now, if we want to move slightly into the trends and what's next, then obviously, like AI is the buzzword. Uh, Machine learning is the buzzword. Like everybody's talking about. bots and chat GPT and all of these additional technologies that walked into the space but changed and disrupted the way we do things. So, how can small businesses prepare themselves to use it? Somebody who has been used to receiving orders on WhatsApp and writing them down and go and pack, or have something like a small operation. How can they capitalize on the rise of AI and all of this technology that's coming into space and into the market?
See, I already said earlier my two favorite things in the world are automations and AI, right? So I'm all AI. If there's someone, if there's a machine, someone, I'm the person who actually says please and thank you to chatbot. So like, if there is someone there,
How can I show
um,
love? Thank
how can I show
you.
love, respect, thank you. If you are at a place where you're not ready for AI, you should not introduce AI. It's very
Yeah,
important. You cannot go to a small scale business with someone who is still writing on a notepad and train them on how to use uh, a, a complex micros system and build inventory, right? It's impossible and it takes so much learning to do. So you need to also understand the skill, but you can teach them how to press a button that has a picture of the item.
yeah,
So you phase it out, right? You phase it out. You say, okay, you know what? Every day in the morning, you will receive a list with the names and the number of items. All you have to do is tick.
yeah,
You also need to understand your resources and how they do it. But there are so many ways to actually utilize AIs. You can automate your customer responses. You can your chatbot, your customer help, your internally, even when you're building. Grammarly is considered AI, right? So you're
yeah,
actually um, correcting your words and suggesting a better way or a different tone to use it. And when you're doing that, you're also training your employees on how to speak the language or the tone of voice that you have as a company. So many ways, but
yeah.
it depends again on the scope of work, right?
Yeah, and I think it's really exciting because the opportunity is endless. Like how you can utilize AI, how you can utilize automation is definitely up to you. So it goes back to what we said earlier, Maha, is that you need to be very conscious about your business and know what is draining you and what is preventing you from, growing and scaling, and tackle that and find innovative solutions for it. Wonderful. I think we've kind of came to the conclusion or the end of our discussion. But what is some advice that you would give to SMBs that either they're starting or growing or trying to grow their online businesses? And if you can give us like a story of somebody that's actually crushing it when it comes to e-commerce.
Um, I think a very important piece of advice is ask for help. When you need help, ask for help. That's very, very important. And always consult. Believe your gut. There's an amazing book called Blink that talks about how you should trust your gut. And especially if you're an entrepreneur and you have it in your heart, trust your gut. It's going to work. You're going to do a great job. Have the right people, have the right support, have the experts that supports your vision, whether internally or externally by partnering with companies and consultants. But when you have the right team and the core team and you have the right tools and the vision process that unifies everything, or get someone to build you that process. If you are not a master or a strategist or someone who actually knows how to do that, get someone to help you clarify that and build a workflow for you. That is extremely important. and build a strong brand. Understand your voice. I see a lot of brands that are super confused with their voice. We want to be young, but we also want to speak to the moms, but we want to do this. No, you know your target audience, speak to them, build your community, leverage marketing, leverage every all the resources that are out there, whether they're tools or anything else. And I think, like I said earlier, um, a great example is a tool called Motion. I don't know if you've ever seen their ads, but since I mentioned their name, they're going to pop up everywhere now. Huge media spend, huge media spend. They're doing a great job. It's not the greatest tool, but they're doing a great job from a marketing perspective. Also, from a product perspective, e-commerce Fatties is doing a great job. They have a clear brand, they have a clear strategy, they have a very transparent vision as well. Like you can tell, you know where they want to go. You know they want to create merch at a certain point. They're doing a great marketing job. Although the product does not back that up massively from an expectation perspective, but they're building a community. People are calling themselves fatties. You know how Taylor Swift has her like Swifties, and like that
Yes,
is
yes,
building a community. It's all about building your community.
100%. 100%. And just to add to that, I think what's very important for SMBs to realize that e-commerce, it's a fair game. The space is yours, the arena is yours. Be bold. We kind of broke free of generation of misperception and stereotype about being business owners and entrepreneurs and working the 9 to 5, and a lot of people are chasing their dreams now, and there's so many stories out there to inspire one another. There's, like you said, surround yourself by people who believe in you and ask for help. There's actually, you will be surprised the amount of entrepreneurs out there that are willing to give out advice and, support and help one another. Thank you, Maha. I think
Thank
that
you.
concludes in terms of the questions that we had, and lovely conversation. I loved every bit of it. We have a few questions in the chat. There was actually even a side discussion. People are talking about the given movement airport trend. So,
I love it.
yeah. So the first question that came from Talha Khan: how can we simplify the integration of new technologies with our existing system to reduce complexity? Example, a medium-sized manufacturing company finds it challenging to connect their new inventory management software with their existing accounting system. Not pretty much e-commerce, but I think you can answer it based on our.
I think both of us can answer it, but because of our background. See, and that's why we're both experts in this field. We really know how to nail every business and build their strategy from A to Z because we've actually helped fix them, right?
Yeah,
I think Talha, it depends on the software that you're using. So, but it's a very simple game, right? So you need something that speaks to each other, and there are a lot of integration locks such as Zapier, for example, that does that. But you need to make sure that both tools are already have API integrations to Zapier or something else. Again, if you share with a consultant or someone who's an expert in the field the names of the tools, they'll give you the best way. Also, it's important to understand what fields are you trying to connect between your manufacturing company, your inventory system and your accounting system. Is it like a you need to build your accounting system to throw the right information, and from your inventory all you're doing is just keeping track of count and waste. That's it.
yeah,
But it's all centralized in the accounting system, and just an inventory is just locations and stock. Where is it?
yeah. Yeah, spot on. I think you've nailed it and covered it. The most also important thing is understand what is the purpose from this integration. Like, what are you trying to achieve? And like Maha said, make sure that they know how to talk to each other and communicate back and forth. Talha also had another question regarding automation. How to identify processes in our business which are most suitable for automation? Rule-based, recurring, repetitive, or resource draining? Invoicing would have under repetitiveness. Can you give more examples? Automation.
Automation. I love that question. So for automations, how do you identify it? Let's start with the first part, right? So how to identify the process in business that's most suitable for automation. That is dependent, as I said earlier, on how much time are you spending on that task, and is there an easier way to do it? So if you're spending more than 30 minutes on a task every day, my emails is something that at a certain point became overwhelming, right? So I activated an AI with an automation that basically sums up everything and then links it. So if this line, one line, follow up on billing, missing feature, hiring confirmation, budget approval. So I know that the first thing I want to do is budget approvals. This is what I'm going to pick up and tackle, and it's already summarized. So this is when I decide, okay, you know what? This requires an automation. Let me go look for an automation that fixes this problem. Same thing with my minutes of meeting. I used to spend so much time doing that. I just got a cute piece of a device that is AI based as well, and all it does is automates my entire meeting, labeled speakers, sends minutes of meeting, it does the entire show. All I have to do is press send.
Yeah,
um, so this is how you do it, whether it's recurring or repetitive. Both of them are always automated. Anything that is a recurring task has to be automated for
yeah,
sure.
yeah,
Anything that requires more resources that are just doing admin work can definitely be automated. Invoicing definitely should be automated. There are so many things that should be automated dependent on the process, but all of the above work.
yeah. Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I think, let me see if we have another question, or I think that's it. Um,
We had a lot of people. Oh, thank you guys. Thank you so much. And the giving movement is apparently really popular in Jordan as well as
yeah,
Dubai, as everywhere else.
honestly,
Yes.
it is a trend, absolutely. I
Which
think that
means it
sums it.
didn't only go in Dubai, sorry, Hiba, but it also
Yeah,
expands beyond Dubai, right?
yeah, absolutely, absolutely, to be honest. And and this is what I said, when with e-commerce, it's a leveling playing field, like everybody can, get into the space and nail it and work it out. And honestly, there's a lot of successful businesses that still work in the back door of a garage. So I think we're good in terms of questions. Thank you so much, Maha. Thank you everyone that tuned in. Thank you for your interactions, your questions, and your attention as well. I know that we went a little bit over time, but we were having fun. What can we say? So, thank you once again, Maha, for your time. And yeah, we'll see you next time.
Thank you, Hiba.
Bye.
Bye.